Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's an update on my zombie deck. Now I actually had to go back and make a lot of changes with this because there were some things I felt were just way too slow this format, like Swallow Slash. It's a great card overall, especially in an actual Shiranui deck, but in this, it doesn't work too well. Like especially going second, it doesn't do anything. Your opponent will easily be able to pop your card, and plus, like, there's a lot of decks that can build up on multiple negations. I also took off Spectral Sword because with cards like Called by the Grave and DD Crow, because like people are starting to tech in DD Crow on certain matchups, it's just not really. It just doesn't do anything too well. So like I took off all the slow cards and put in more fast pacing cards, cards that are just built to like basically break your opponent's board and just OTK your opponent. So that's what I wanted to show you guys this time around, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So one thing I do like about zombies is that it's built on a beatdown strategy, and it can also work around in a control strategy as well. So that's just really good. And one thing also is that this deck never really has to worry about cards like Nibiru because like you don't really spam out your monsters. Like you just mostly just dump your monsters and just like cards like Doom King Baladrock can summon itself back. So anyway, speaking of which, starting off with 2 copies of Doom King Baladrock. I don't really want to play 3 because it's a brick, but one thing is good is that if there's a field spell out, you can bring this card back from your grave in defense mode at any given standby phase. And also, whenever a zombie activates an effect, you can either negate that effect or you can banish one card on the field or in the graveyard. So, Doom King Baladrock, just a good way for disruption. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Necroworld Banshee. You could run this at 3 if you want to, mainly because I run a lot of cards that basically require me to discard, so I just prefer 2 though. She gives you instant access to your zombie world. Gets run cards like Nat Beast, which not many people are playing right now, but you know, like if you need to get rid of, if someone like springs an anti-spell fragrance on you, you can chain this off and just get that zombie world out and quick. And also, while she's on the field, your opponent can't target your zombie world. Next, 2 Globe Bloom. This card is sent to the graveyard. You can banish it to special summon a zombie world or zombie monster from your deck as long as it's level 5 or higher, but only if zombie world's out. If it's not out, all you can do is search it, but even then, that's still pretty good. Search gives you instant access to your Doom King, and or you can also summon out Vampire Furline, which is really good for zombies. It's just generically good for this deck. So, and it's also kind of a hand trap in and itself. And the fact that she can summon herself for free is also really amazing. Alright, so moving on to the support cards. Of course, you're still going to be playing 3 copies of Shiranui Solitaire. This gives you instant access to your Unizombie. I'm playing 1 Spirit Master because if it's banished, you can pop 1 face-up card on the field. And of course, like I mentioned, got to be playing 3 copies of Unizombie. The only thing that this deck is weak to is that there's cards like Infinite Impermanence and Effect Veiler. If they hit that Unizombie, you're pretty much done. But that's why I run other engine cards. That way I can still like bring out my powerful zombie monsters. So Unizombie, definitely a much needed card. Next to Gozuki, which is a good enough second compared to Unizombie. It's just another way to dump your cards like Mizuki and all that good stuff. Which comes to his next card, Mizuki, was just Monster Reborn for the deck. I'm not playing Book of Life, and yeah. And I think 2 Mizuki is just fine, because like I said, you don't really want to overextend with this deck. You basically just want to get instant access to that Doom King and just work from there. Alright. Now for a little extra support, I'm actually running 3 Dangers, being Mothman only though, because he's Dark World Dealings. Plus the fact that it's just a good way to like fix up your hand, like it's not bad at all. So like you draw 1 card, discard 1 card if this card was discarded, and also if this card wasn't discarded, he's a free body on board. And plus with Zombie World out, you could actually, he turns into a zombie. You can go into cards like Vampire Sucker or Avenged Savior. Alright, and for hand traps, I'm only running 3. 3 Ash Blossom just because like it chains into a Doom King Brawler Drock, so, and since it's already a generically good zombie type monster, that's why I'm running it. Alright, so now we're moving on to spells. Of course, you're going to be playing 3 copies of Zombie World. This card in and itself is a floodgate, turns everything into zombie, and it also puts True Dracos into check because they can't tribute summon unless it's for a zombie type monster. So, Zombie World, definitely an amazing card, and it just disrupts so many things. Like, it even stops Thunder Dragons because like they can't go into Colossus at all if Zombie World is out on field. So, yeah, it becomes tricky to work with. Next up, I'm actually running 3 copies of Instant Fusion just to give me access to like Thousand Ice Restrict or anything like that, just so I can, like I said, either link climb or just basically get free sub bot removal. Speaking of which, 3 copies of Super Poly, which is amazing with Zombie World because you have Dragon Necro, and not to mention there's just a lot of good, generically good targets for Super Poly. So the fact that it's at 3 is just bonkers, really. 3 Called by the Grave, that's a staple, of course. You know, you definitely want to stop cards like the Orcus combos and all that. And just anything to get rid of, like, problematic monsters, like with Pendulums. You know, they dumped that not that Doom King. They dumped that Supreme King Darkworm. Definitely want to get rid of that. That way they can't really gain any advantage off of it. For 1-ofs, running 1 Terraforming, 1-for-1, Foolish Burial, and of course, Monster Reborn. And that's it. Alright, so now we're moving on to the extra deck. I'm only playing 1 Vampire Sucker now just because you don't really need 2 anymore. I gave this card another chance and I kind of underestimated it big time. Vendred Savior. This is another good way to dump your zombie monsters. He gains power based on the level, so yeah, I was just like, wow, actually, you know what? I completely underestimated this card, so it's another good way just to dump Doom King Ballardrock. So if you can get easy access to this whenever he engages in battle, just dump that Doom King Ballardrock, or even Necro Banshee if you want to, just to get that zombie world out, and you're set to go. I'm playing 1 Link Karibo, of course, since we do have a few level 1s. Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, Warlord Dragon, and Appaloosa. For Synchros, I'm running the more important ones. Red Eye Zombie Necro for, you know, just help with the O2K, as well as Shogun Saga. Cypher and Lord Omega. I'm thinking whether to keep this or change it out for Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. It's going to be Borreload Savage Dragon. It's true that he gets multiple negates, but honestly, like, you already got with that with Doom King Ballardrock, and the fact that it also has spot removal is just kind of like tough, so I'm still thinking about it. Next, for instant fusion targets, I'm running Thousand Eyes Restrict, as well as Flame Ghost, or you can go see Monster of Theseus. The only reason I'm running the Flame Ghost is just to go into cards like Vendred Savior, or even Vampire Sucker, so that's why. And for Super Poly targets, I'm running 3, Starwing Venom, Plant Triphy, and Dragon Necro. And like I said, like Zombie World with Super Poly is just crazy because Nether Soul Dragon just takes away your opponent's monsters completely. So yeah, it's really busted. Alright, for the side deck, it's pretty standard actually. Playing Nibiru. Twin Twisters. Against the Sky Striker matchups, I'm actually going with the Black Garden route. So I'm playing 2 Black Garden as well as a set rotation. I'm actually siding out Rivalry of the Warlords. You could main deck this if you want. I know some people say like you should main deck it, but some people say you shouldn't. It's really all about preference. Like, since my deck's more of a blind second build, that's why I'm not main decking it. But if I'm going first, and I know I can win going first, then I'll side in that Rivalry of the Warlords. So basically, your opponent summons a monster while Zombie World's already out on field, and he's locked into zombies. So Rivalry of the Warlords is just a really powerful combination with Zombie World. And to deal with Pendulums, you know, Anti-Spell Fragrance. It also works well on Sky Strikers too, but mainly just to deal with the Pendulums because they can't set their skills whatsoever. So, yeah, and that's all I got. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and of course, just make sure you check in with my channel, and I'll catch you guys again next time.